Hey guys, Jack here. Stick around after today's episode to hear how new clients can save 50% on AgYield's full suite of consulting and technology for 2025. This exclusive offer is available now until April 1st. Don't miss out. Terms and conditions apply. Check out the video description to learn more.
Good morning, everybody. It's Monday, March 24th, and this is the AgYield War Room. I'm Dan Dempsey, and I'll be moderating today's session. As always, if you've got any questions or comments, please feel free to drop us a line in the chat area, and we'll be sure to get to it during the show. Overnight markets here at May corn down 2 at 462 and a quarter. May soybeans down 3 and a quarter at 1006 and a half. And May Chicago wheat was down 7 at 551 and a quarter. No export sales announcements here this morning. A couple of highlights, things that we'll be looking at here this week. There was some news on Friday about potential rollbacks on some tariffs that are due to come and go in place on April 2nd. So we're certainly looking for more guidance out of the White House on what that exactly is going to look like. It's got the outside markets higher here this morning. The Dow's up 415. We've got USDA report a week from today. So that'll be heavily discussed here as we go throughout the week. And then big discussions in Saudi Arabia here starting today with Ukraine and Russia. So certainly be looking for news that comes out of that meeting as well. So good morning, guys. I guess, Dustin, maybe a few thoughts. We saw commitment of traders there on Friday. So what's on your mind as we look out to this week?
Yeah. Funds just continuing to liquidate out of corn. They've pulled back quite a bit since their highs there a month ago, and or a little more than a month ago. And so where do we, are they going to just turn around and get short again? Is the question, right? Is there what's changed the mind of speculative funds on, going from record short to within range of record long to, back towards neutral again? And is it simply just momentum? Has their interpretation of how the potential trade war has gone, or the rhetoric, has that changed? I think that's the big question, because if you just look at the market and look at fund activity, it's kind of being led by the funds still, it looks like. When I look at things like the Brazilian real, I think it definitely has a big impact that's not being talked about enough outside of this circle. I think it's just, you just do an overlay of, last night the real was down, that it's going to have a big impact on our competition, especially when there's actually supply to compete with. So I don't have a real great direction right now prior to this report. I think that the risk, of course, is April 2nd tariffs being, the unknown there. And then do we get more or less corn acres than 94 million on on this March 31st report? There's the verdict's still out there. I mean, I could be convinced either way. I mean, I've heard a lot of corn and corn acres in the I states, but it's a pretty big country. So, if that's not the case outside of Illinois, for example, the corn market really could do whatever it wants to do on March 31st.
Sure. Ben, what's on your mind this morning?
Yeah, we're just slapping around in this range. I would think it would be very difficult to do much outside of the recent, for sure in corn, call it 45 to 80, which seems like a long ways, but we've traversed all those prices in the last couple of weeks. So I just think we got to wait and see what the report says, see how things, kind of how fluid they stay with tariffs into early next week. And then I think we'll start to see a shift towards planning weather, things like that. Corn acres are going to be big. How big is the question? And then quarterly stocks. Some good conversations with people the end of last week, and where could they go with that? And there seems to be certainly an acceptance that we could see maybe a larger stocks if there was with ample meal and plenty of wheat around to feed. I guess that's a possibility. I would lean in the other direction, that you could probably offset those numbers if they wanted to actually raise demand. So a lot of moving parts here, and I think it'll take a day or two following the report for the market to kind of sort it out. And then I think we quickly just we just shift gears and go into a bigger focus on new crop.
Justin, thoughts? What's on your mind?
Yeah, I mean, nothing too dissimilar from Ben and Dustin. It's just, I hate to be a broken record, just kind of a wait and see. I mean, you see like anything from obviously tariffs is the biggest talking point right now, but what kind of fees are put on Chinese ships, like we talked about last week? What happens with renewable fuels? We've seen biodiesel or soybean oil used for biodiesel demand really plummet here without more direction on 45Z and some of these other initiatives. So, I mean, you could write a scenario either way that could be really quite friendly or kind of put us into a really heavy market, over the next coming months. So, I keep trying to harp on and not be a broken record, but I got to look at your situation with crop insurance and all those things and just, I think, have an open mind, which is easier said than done a lot of times when you get different headlines that can convince you of, we're going to $3 corn because we're going to have tariffs and fight everybody and we're never going to sell anything again. What if we don't get the acres? What if corn acres aren't? I mean, we've written off that corn acres are going to be big no matter what. And we all have, you can find a pocket, I think, anywhere where you talk to a couple of guys that are going to plant a lot more corn. But I think it's so hard, to Dustin's point, it's such a big country. It's so hard in a normal year. And to me, looking at ratios and the cost of everything and working capital issues and farm bill payments and, a new subsidy on ECO crop insurance, a lot of new variables, not to mention all the geopolitical ones. I just think it's a really tough year to have a high confidence rate of what acres are going to be. So to me, I have to kind of see those numbers and see what happens here in the next few weeks to have a really strong opinion. I just don't have one right now.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting headline driven type of market here for the next week or so. There's not a whole lot that's going to change on this show from between now and next week, but we'll do our best there. Rylan, transitioning here a little bit, there is a lot of excitement over in your neck of the woods.
Yes, indeed.
I couldn't believe, you look at that cattle close on Friday, holy smokes. And then, at 2:00 you come out and you get what's being widely viewed as a real bullish cattle on feed number. So that should be interesting there. And then hogs are pretty quiet, kind of mixed trade, but why don't you lead us off for cattle this week?
Yeah, absolutely. It was just a wild session nonetheless. You trade to, record highs and you completely reverse from them. You've got cash trading at record levels, 210 in the south, all the way up to 215 in the north. So, we're talking 7 and 9 higher in some areas. And the market's been responsive. So, we're coming in today with the cattle on feed report. The numbers overall, the market was expecting a big drop in placements. They were just slightly below estimates. If that's enough to really kind of get us back moving and, keep the party train alive, we're fine with that. But it's hard to say that there was a big shock here. We already knew that, the border closure was really impacting feeder movement back into the country. So, overall, it just didn't seem like there was anything really that fresh, though. That's the only concern that I have kind of going in today. Also, you have the kind of reversal type action in future. So it's going to be hard to see what really takes precedent. I think that the report itself is going to lead to a little bit more of a longer term bullish bias, but we'll see. We do know that those numbers are starting to make it over the border, that we're likely to be placing pretty aggressively right now. And, seasonally, there is a little bit of concern that prices could fall back here. So I think it could be another volatile trade today. We'll see how the dust settles. You got, pretty good news pretty much around the horn, though. There really wasn't anything to really chew on that was really negative coming into today. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. It's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, very good. Hogs, what do you see in hogs?
Same kind of price action. We rallied them a little bit and just kind of closed off the the highs. There really isn't much to speak on right now. I mean, we've got cash prices still kind of holding up a little bit. They put cash up $1 at 96.86, and we got cash or cut out just down a little bit. So there's been just kind of a push and pull between the two right now. And I think there is going to be some concerns about how the tariffs kind of shape up still. But overall, it just seems like maybe we got a little bit of confidence, kind of going forward that maybe these tariffs aren't going to come on as hard, as fast as we all thought. So maybe that could give us a boost. Otherwise, it just seems like we're kind of stuck still in the hog market.
Very good. Appreciate the update there. We've talked about it ad nauseum, but really, I mean, if you want to visit ahead of next week, just to be sure that you've got everything positioned the way you'd like going into the spring here, we're going to be planting here pretty soon. Give us a call. Love to visit with you. We got a special offer going on through the end of the month. So you got a week or so left. Give us a call. Jack has a little more info in the outro there, so we appreciate that. If you wouldn't mind, throw us a like, certainly subscribe. Thanks to everybody that supports the show. Doesn't cost you anything to do so to subscribe. It'll keep you up to speed on everything that's going on with AgYield. So again, thanks to everyone there. We're doing this live every day. The markets are open on X, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, 8:15 Central Time. Appreciate the thoughts and comments here this morning, guys. Hope everybody has a good start to the week, and we look forward to talking to you again tomorrow.
At AgYield, we know that farmers are constantly confronted by new challenges, and 2025 is no exception. Markets are volatile, margins are shrinking, and lender confidence is in free fall. Farmers need industry support now more than ever, which is why we are offering something truly unprecedented. From now until April 1st, new AgYield clients can access our full suite of consulting services and cutting-edge technology at 50% off. This is more than a promotion. It's our way of extending a hand of support to farmers when they need it most. From precision grain marketing to innovative risk management strategies, we're committed to protecting your farm's profitability and building a stronger, more sustainable future. And together, we can weather the storm ahead. Visit us today at agyield.com or call 855-266-6241 to get started. Terms and conditions apply. Check out the video description to learn more.